Hey everyone, I'm here in New Haven about to take the train down to Stamford, Connecticut for a tour, led by my friend Luke Buttonwieser, who works for the city of Stamford. And we're going to be looking at some complete streets projects, some Vision Zero projects, other development and cool outdoor dining things. You may have seen my videos about Hoboken, the walking tour there, as well as Hartford and New Britain complete streets. This is the next stop on the tour, so let's go.
Job basically is I'm the city transportation planner, working in the transportation department here in Stamford. I do a lot of things with roadway safety, roadway construction, etc. Welcome to Stamford Transportation Center, the busiest transportation hub in the state of Connecticut. Factories closed, factories moved down south. Tale as old as time in the United States, especially in the Northeast. But basically, this is kind of a large amount of brownfields, and now it's not. It's one of the largest residential housing developments in the country, Harbor Point. Yeah. It's all one kind of large master developer. So basically, with the increased value of land, the city holds what the original tax rate was essentially, but you still can collect the taxes for the increment. So that's where the increment part of the financing comes from. That goes to pay back the bonds for or in operations too, depending on the case of the TIF setup, for the maintenance and infrastructure that was built around everything. So all these roads were rebuilt as part of this.
I saw that there were some roads. There's probably, because I have a friend who's looking at it, so I've been sending you saying
when you're doing all this urban design, they have park and green space. It's some bike infrastructure that we put in when developer builds all these roads. So that's part of the city's review process. We have a complete streets ordinance that we've had for a while now. Whenever a new road gets built, we always try to put in bike infrastructure. As things kind of grow and develop, we always are changing our standards and doing more and more. Right now I'm using this So Atlantic Street has been kind of one of the main corridors between South End and downtown, but it's always kind of been this weird, not very pedestrian friendly. It runs underneath 95 and the railroad tracks. There's been some investment related to the new railroad bridge that widened the road from 3 lanes to 4 lanes with bike lanes and widened sidewalks that are probably more lit. But basically the city's kind of identified Atlantic Street as one of the main, which should be more of a multimodal corridor connecting South End to downtown. Washington Boulevard maybe taking a little bit more of the vehicular brunt, just as connections to 95. The state also moved the off-ramp from 95 from Atlantic Street to Canal Street. That significantly reduced the amount of traffic on the roadway, basically kind of opening up the roadway to more potential for lane diets, which we're working on a project up in downtown, which I'll talk about. But right now I'm going to pass these plans around. The city has grant funding. We're currently working on a project to redo this section of Atlantic Street. Basically the main component of it is going to have a 2-way cycle track on the east side of the road from here all the way up to the train station. Connect with the Stamford Urban Transit Way, which we'll talk about more, then connect to the bike lanes further up Atlantic Street to have one continuous bike connection from the South End and Harbor Point through the area all the way up into downtown. We also basically, as standard, do raised crosswalks more or less and raised intersections, so there's several of those. I'm going to pass the plans around. These are online. You can find them on stanfordct.gov.
They do have but they're
working on a project. We're actually going to break ground the first week of August this year. I'm very excited. Pacific Streetscape Reconstruction Project, basically a raised intersection, widened sidewalks for outdoor dining, raised crosswalks, street trees, pedestrian level lighting, some bioswales. I will pass those plans around. You can all take a look at that. Essentially, it's a quick streetscape project funded partially by the city as well as partially funded by a transportation-oriented development grant from the city, from the state of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development. One of the big things the city's working on is trying to make the underpasses better, because there's this whole disconnect between south end or the east side of the downtown. A large part of that's due to this. So we're working on the murals, lighting, different things like that. So. You can see we have a nice little farmers market downtown. Fun fact, Route 1 go right there. Like Main Street used to go from here, right where we're all standing, right through there. Then they built the mall, which is actually as interesting. It's like one of the few like downtown malls that were built. Most of them are built more in like the suburb environment areas. I guess New Haven has some downtown ones too. But you can actually walk down Old Route 1. There's a cut through in the mall on the other side of Main Street over there. But this is all part of like the streets of Stamford and downtown were completely reoriented and redone as part of urban renewal. But there is some historic buildings we have here. We have the old Stamford Savings Bank, the Heritage Building, Old Town Hall, St. Thomas Church. This building, which actually used to be an office building, is now getting converted to residential. We have another office, old office building right next door that's getting converted into a hotel. And then right over there, we're going to talk more about that after lunch, but just kind of the historic districts of Stamford getting redone. All over the place. Yes, you biggies.
Daughter of a friend of mine started this Instagram public sector office, and people.
Hope everyone enjoyed lunch. This is Bedford Street, right in the heart of downtown Stamford. When we first started in COVID of May of 2020, we transformed over 140 parking spaces throughout downtown. We have about 3,000 seats of outdoor dining within Stamford. Majority of those are in downtown. Bedford Street, again, is our main drag, basically. There's a lot of bars and restaurants and nightlife, also some retail. And again, this is kind of like the heart of downtown. The city is undertaking an effort called the Reimagine Bedford Street project, basically to see like what the future of Bedford Street should be. We have a public survey out right now that's over 1,000 responses from the public telling us all the things and what they like about Bedford Street, what they don't like about Bedford Street, how they use Bedford Street, and how they want to see Bedford Street in the future. Basically, we're going to come up with 3 larger concept plans for the road and have some public dialogue and engagement on what we should do to redesign it. So over there, we are creating one large raised intersection, basically from Bedford Street all the way to that crosswalk there, to connect one kind of linear pathway between Latham Park to the new public plaza that we're building here. The new public plaza is going to support 300 outdoor dining seats for these restaurants, but also have public seating for the general public. We're going to have some grass parking areas, mounds, some trees, as well as some outdoor bistro tables and benches too. String lighting going over the road. That outdoor patio has become permanent too. We're going to do a raised crosswalk crossing Bedford at Spring, and a raised crosswalk crossing Bedford at Forest. Also a brand new traffic signal as well. Just really going to cut down the speeding and noise complaints we get on Bedford Street, as well as make a whole new kind of green public space. We're planting 19 trees. One of the first things that thanks, Mike. Your left turn, they come more 90 degrees on the crosswalk. Because the way it works now, or before, your A-frame pillar that you block the crosswalks, there's a lot of visibility issues. At Grey Rock Place and Forest Street, 2 years ago, we implemented this. Basically, so Forest Street used to have no stop control at all, just kept going right through. Grey Rock is doing stop control. This actually, where I'm standing right now, used to be a right turn lane, so people just free flow, right turn without even stopping from Forest Street onto Grey Rock. There's a lot of concern. There's a history of pedestrian crashes, bike crashes, a lot of concerns with people walking over here. Crosswalks are uncontrolled. So what we did, we eliminated the right turn lane, we added and made it all way stop. And we also do corner bump outs as well in the parking lane, utilizing fully city resources and city crews, right? Like we have these sitting in a shop up on Cortland Avenue. Our crews just put them in an hour. We were able to completely transform the intersection. DSSDs put some planters in, add some greenery in here. And we're currently working on design plans to just fully build out the bump outs. So basically the curb will be where you see the busiest pedestrian intersection in the city. Really also kind of like the main kind of heart downtown. It connects people to Atlantic Street, Bedford Street, and then Summer Street's right over there. So we have a project on Atlantic Street. I talked about the one in the south end. This is the one coming up in downtown. It's currently 2 northbound lanes. We're going to eliminate one of the northbound lanes, limit the median, have parking protected bike lanes in both directions, as well as a raised intersection down by Old Town Hall. There's some bump outs and stuff over here. And then just touch on, so that's going to be a 290 unit apartment building over there, 280 apartment building over there. So you're going to have, basically 500 plus, new units on either side over here. The city's also doing a project on this way down Broad. We're going to remove the median, park protected bike lanes, raised and curb separated going down that way. So this, where you're standing right now, used to be a parking space. So there used to be parking, travel lane, parking. I mentioned before with COVID, we transformed a lot of outdoor, parking spaces to outdoor dining. This is one of the examples. So we eliminated parking on both sides of the road, transformed it into outdoor dining. We got that tested out. We received a grant from the state for a community connectivity grant. So that's a really great grant program that's really focused on like bike, bicycle, and pedestrian. Essentially what we did, we widened the sidewalks by 8 to 10 feet on either side of the road, eliminated the parking, added all these new street trees, added the street lighting, student lighting going over the road, as well as you notice the whole road is actually raised up to sidewalk level. It's basically one large shared road. The restaurants can actually take the full width of the sidewalk. People will walk in the middle of the road, access all the restaurants in the middle of the road. So it helps ADA compliance, also slowing cars down, create more of a shared space. So just some like one of my key favorite little points is like they stay open now 2 hours later since we've opened, and I think 1, 2, 3 actually serve lunch now when they didn't serve lunch before. So you're getting the economic like development component into it. We've done like that.
They're like, wow.
Yeah, there's like so there's already like more people coming here, so now they're able to like justify staying open longer. That's the landing street over there. So where you're standing right now, up until a few years ago, this used to just be asphalt, like there used to be like a no parking area. So when we redid the crosswalks, like basically we did 5 crosswalks, bump outs up Summer Street, even further north. This is one of them. Creating more pedestrian space, expansion of the park. You'll notice that Main Street has an entire lane and parking lane blocked for outdoor dining. So we make Main Street one way in the outdoor dining season, really widen the road for outdoor dining here for all the restaurants to take part of. Same thing over here on West Park Place. The parking lane is kind of like a dead no man's land lane that we make for outdoor dining as well for all these restaurants. You can see we have a very high number of restaurants here that try to use all the outdoor dining space that we have, which is really great. Adds a lot of vibrancy. Pretty big folks. Intersection of Washington Boulevard and Main Street. So Washington Boulevard is a state highway, State Route 137. A few years ago, we had a very serious dual pedestrian fatality over here, which kind of sparked a lot of interest from the community as well as from the city about having to redo the roadway. Because actually, from like that light all the way down here to this light, which is my main commuting route, because I live there and work there, there's been 4 pedestrian fatalities in the last few years. So it's kind of like the quote-unquote boulevard of death in Stamford. So to their credit, the Connecticut Department of Transportation partnered with the city on doing the whole roadway safety audit, came up with some really progressive plans and designs. So we also, obviously we closed some lanes for the outdoor dining because no one can make a left into here. But what we did on a temporary basis, again with these white poles, we closed off one of the turn lanes over there, and we actually closed off the southbound right turn lane over there. We did bump outs here in the road into the parking lane using here, and then we actually did we used centerline hardening speed humps. We just got all the yellow lines as an extension of the medians to force cars to make a slower left turn. That was all basically to demonstrate to the state, hey, can we eliminate some right turn lanes? Hey, can we do these different types of things? The state was totally on board with us doing that. I think it's one of the first instances where we've done that on a state road. And so we are currently, this is very much so a draft plan, by the way, but we are going to be in design of a fully raised intersection at this Washington and Main with bump outs on all 4 corners. We're actually going to do more bioswales now. This is an slightly older design, basically bioswales everywhere. Raising the intersection, this will be the first example of a raised intersection on a state road in the state. Very bump outs and lane closures, so this is working its way through the design process right now. So.
And that's the last stop. A big thanks to Luke for leading this very informational and inspiring tour of all the different ways that Stamford is making the city better for its residents and visitors. And I'll leave you with this one last clip.
Luke, could you say again for the camera that your town could do this?
in theory, right, there's nothing like stopping from your municipality from doing something like this.
Thank you.